Hey everyone, I'm Unchenna. Over the last few years, the Black community has made huge strides when it comes to representation in movies, TV, and comic books. But when it comes to video games, for the most part, the first character that comes to mind is either a blue hedgehog, a short and round Italian plumber, or a grizzly 30-year-old white dude.
You don't have what it takes to kill me.
We're slowly seeing improvement, but there are still real systemic changes that the industry needs to make if we ever want to see real representation in games. The first step to progress is understanding how we got here. So in honor of Black History Month, I want to talk to you about the history of Black video game characters. Even though games are a relatively young medium, there's still a whole lot of outdated ugliness to parse through, especially towards the beginning, where Black characters are defined by sports and stereotypes. The earliest depiction of a playable Black character that I could find dates back to 1976 in an obscure arcade game from Sega called Heavyweight Champ. The game's in grayscale, so it's kind of up for debate, but one boxer is definitely rendered darker than his opponent. A more clear-cut example comes from 1979 with Atari's Basketball. On the more famous Atari 2600 version, you could choose between a purple guy or a green guy. But the later releases on more powerful hardware make it clear that one of the characters is Black. As sports games became more complex, they began relying on real-life stars to sell copies, resulting in games like Daley Thompson's Decathlon and Frank Bruno's Boxing, putting Black athletes front and center. Speaking of boxing, the Punchout series gave us some of Nintendo's only Black characters, in the form of hardworking trainer Doc Lewis and the ugly caricatures he helps you fight. Japanese companies have always had a strange relationship with representation, and even though there's been some progress made over the years, they can still do better. Seriously, there are over 70 characters in Smash Ultimate, and not a single one of them is Black. Today, characters of color are no longer limited to sports, but the legacy still persists as stereotypes, from Barrett Wallace to Cole Train.
Try to tell you to stay away from that chopper, man. Sounds like shit got thick for you.
It did. Thanks for the assist, Cole.
Jackson Briggs to Doomfist. The default mode of Black characters seems to be loud, aggressive, enormous dudes whose athleticism, strength, and masculinity are their defining traits. That's why heroes like Lee Everett, Marcus Holloway, and Lincoln Clay are so refreshing. They're down-to-earth everymen, not roided-out rage machines.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Now, I'm not trying to rag on sports games. They're a huge pillar of the entire industry. And over the last few years, Black artists like Spike Lee and Jay-Z have been deeply involved in elevating them, producing awesome entries into the 2K Sports series. But simply dropping African-American characters into a game isn't enough, especially when they stick to tired tropes. Black characters have existed on the periphery since the earliest days of gaming, but it took a little longer for them to become stars. One of the first non-sports games to feature a playable Black character is Sega's Quartet from 1986, an arcade shooter that lets you choose from 4 characters, including Edgar, a Black super soldier. Soon, plenty of titles were at least giving gamers the option of playing as a character of color, especially fighting games. Street Fighter 2's selection of world warriors like Balrog and DJ helped ignite a trend of multicultural rosters, and today some of the most diverse casts can be found in fighters, including my fave Eddie Gordo from Tekken. That dude's got sweet capoeira moves.
You win.
The deep inclusive roster could be the reason why the fighting game community is home to far more people of color than most gaming scenes. It's one thing to give gamers a choice to play as a person of color, let them create their own, or to showcase Black people in supporting roles like Alex Vance or Sergeant Johnson. But what about games where you have to play as a Black character, where the only way to experience the game is through a person of color? An early example is Cyborg, a little-known PC game from 1986, not to be confused with DC's superhero of the same name.
When there's trouble, you know what to do. Call Cyborg!
Which may be the reason the game was pulled and re-released as a Mandroid. Mandroid didn't have much of an impact, but just 3 years later, the massive hit Michael Jackson's Moonwalker put you in the king of pop shoes.
Michael!
Other games based on Black celebrities followed suit, like that piece of shit Shaq Fu. And other decent games like Michael Jordan's Chaos in the Windy City. Meanwhile, Predator 2, Spawn, Blade, Beverly Hills Cop, and other licensed properties gave you control of their Black protagonists, but they're not really video game characters, even though today, Shadow Man is far more known for his 1999 game than his obscure comic series. Original Black heroes are few and far between, like the problematic voodoo priest Akuji the Heartless.
Explore all the lands of each vestibule of hell.
FPS forerunners like Rusty Blade and John Dalton, or in the sadly all too rare example of a woman of color in a leading role, rookie cop Darcy Stern from 1999's Urban Chaos. Of course her name had to be spelled the black way, with an apostrophe. Today, black protagonists are far more commonplace, from Aveline Adewale and Bayek of Assassin's Creed to Billy Lurk from Dishonored. But including characters of color is only part of the equation, because blackness is far more than a color. It's a culture. One of the earliest games to feature predominantly black characters is Street Beat, a 1985 Commodore 64 title where you wander the streets of London making people dance with your giant boombox. It's weird. It was an early, unsuccessful attempt to inject rap culture into games and an omen of even more awkward attempts to come. But as hip-hop grew in influence and games continued to evolve, the two art forms were destined to collide. In 1994, Biggie unleashed the floodgates by boasting of his console collection.
Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis.
I couldn't picture this. I don't know most of the words. What? Publishers were quick to cash in on the hip-hop inspired games like the SNES classic Rap Jam Volume 1, an NBA Jam clone that lets you play as 1990s icons like Queen Latifah, Onyx, and LL Cool J. Wu-Tang Clan got in on the action too with the 1999 fighting game classic Wu-Tang Shaolin Style, complete with its own really weird custom PS1 controller that looks like you can't really hold it, but whatever. Def Jam Vendetta combined rap with pro wrestling, using the WWF No Mercy engine to kick off a series that pitted Def Jam's biggest stars against each other in a no-holds-barred brawl.
Nobody ever beats me.
The love affair between hip-hop and video games reached its peak in 2004 with one of the greatest games of all time, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Despite being mostly written by two white dudes from England, San Andreas was an authentic, earnest love letter to 90s gangster movies like Boys in the Hood.
Yeah, taking off the motherfucking set.
With an incredible soundtrack and some of the most fleshed out, compelling black characters I've ever seen in games.
We all the same, Carl, you, me. We all trying to pull ourselves out of the hole. Somebody steps on me, I gotta step on you.
Voiced by stars like Samuel Jackson, Ice-T, Charlie Murphy, and Faison Love. Games like 50 Cent Bulletproof and Mark Ucko's Getting Up continued the trend, but as the years went on and the line between rap and pop continued to blur, authentic hip-hop games fell out of fashion as rap merged more with the mainstream. Modern music is so splintered among streaming and subgenres that no single style can have the same influence that hip-hop did in the 90s and aughts. Black culture is the culture now, but as the recent controversy over Fortnite appropriating dance moves shows, developers still have no qualms exploiting black artists to turn a profit. The challenges of black representation in gaming are more than cultural, because the problem is systemic. There are a lot of reasons why there aren't enough black video game characters, but it's definitely not because black people don't play games. A recent poll showed that 89% of African Americans played video games, compared to 71% of white teenagers. But behind the scenes is a very different story. Black developers have played a huge role in gaming history, like engineer Jerry Lawson, who came up with the concept of interchangeable ROM cartridges in an era where games were built into the hardware. Guy was a real game changer. But today, we're barely represented in the industry. In a 2017 survey, only 1% of the developers polled identified as black, a truly outrageous number that explains a lot about why the industry falls so short. As Barry Jenkins' Moonlight so gorgeously taught us, black skin requires careful consideration when it comes to lighting. But the shaders and engines common in the industry fall painfully short when it comes to depicting darker complexions, letting characters of color fade into the background where their lighter-skinned counterparts pop. The same goes for hair. For years, black characters were limited to dreads, Caesars, and cartoonish afros, because no one really bothered to figure out how to capture the texture, depth, and weight that comes with natural black hair. Games like Afro Samurai, Wolfenstein, and Uncharted: The Lost Legacy do a much better job than most, but without people behind the scenes who have lived the experience, who understand the complexities of portraying black people correctly, most developers still build their games with whiteness as the default. Things are getting better though. Just recently, Apex Legends dethroned Fortnite as the hottest game in town, with a diverse roster that includes 2 playable black women, which is 2 more than Overwatch has.
Remember this, I'm the one you should have concerns about.
Meanwhile, Terry Crews has become the real-life face of the Crackdown series, and games like In the Valley of the Gods and Far Cry New Dawn are also giving black women the spotlight they deserve. Black characters have come a long way since Heavyweight Champ, but there's still a long road to go.
And if we can't take it, we'll break it.
The industry needs creators of color from the top down. Developers who have lived the experience and can bring that insight to the games they make. If we truly want to achieve equality in the electronic gaming space, companies need to work harder to create more opportunities for people of color. Because change starts from within, and it starts with you. Hey, I'm Unchenna, and thanks for watching my first nerd video. Let me know some of your favorite black video game characters. Leave a comment or a like, and please remember to subscribe to NowThis Nerd. See you soon.